Okay, hello everybody, welcome to Tìandtarot, or welcome back to Tìandtarot if you've been here before, if you're subscribed. So today's reading is all about what has changed in the coding of your fate, or in your fate coding. So basically there's this idea, choose whether to believe it or not, it's up to you, but there's an idea that like our whole existence is actually just coding, and like our whole fate is predetermined by this coding. But obviously coding can be edited, it can, you can go in, you can fix things, change things up. So essentially we're asking if anything has changed about your fate, but I've asked it in a really weird AI-ish way. But yeah, that's what we're asking today. And today's reading is a pick-a-pile reading. And if you don't know how pick-a-pile readings work, essentially you just want to pick a pile that you feel intuitively drawn to, either because of the energy that you're kind of getting from the pile, or because of the number of the pile, so this is 1, 2 and 3, or because of the numbers in the timestamps below, or the zodiacs in the timestamps below as well. Maybe you like to choose with those, it's up to you. You can pick with anything. We also today, instead of crystals, we have like little drink sachets like coffee and tea. Listen, okay, I'm not in my place. I have to work with what I've got, and this is what's here in the hotel, alright? So bear with me. But this is what I've got, okay? And I've used the crystals that I do have too many times. So until I go and pick up new ones, this is what you get in. So if you do like to pick with, an object on top, then I'll get into that with you now. So for pile 1, we have some regular coffee. For pile 2, we got some tea. And for pile 3, we got some decaf coffee, which I think really suits this card because she looks like, she's up at night. So the decaf's over here. And then also I flipped over your tarot card just to give you a little bit more choice if that's not enough. So for pile 1, we have the Hierophant. For pile 2, we have the Knight of Pentacles. And for pile 3, we have the 9 of Swords. Alrighty, so once you have picked your pile, there will be a timestamp in the description box below for you to find your reading more easily, and I will meet you there. Bye. Okay, hello pile 1, welcome to your reading. So you chose this coffee, which I'm going to put here. This is your card, the Hierophant, and this is one of your oracle cards. We're going to get some more, but you have Hematite. So I detoxify and transmute stress into balance and harmony. It has the number 9 on there with Aries and Aquarius. It's all about the root chakra, grounding, balancing and detoxifying. It also absorbs negative energy, and it's to do with willpower as well. I love that. Before I get into any of your other cards, I do just kind of want to say, especially because you've got like the Hierophant here, that potentially spirituality might be stressing you out. For some of you it might be helping you, but religion, spiritual practices might be stressing you out a little bit, where you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're feeling like you want to go against the grain of what you've been taught, because you might have been raised like religious or taught to be a believer in the things that you believe in, and you might be in a period of questioning and challenging that, which is, good for you, because you should always make up your own mind about these things. So you might be in a period of questioning those things to try and, establish a sense of self that feels more aligned with who you are. Okay, so far as well, I just pulled a couple more oracle cards. So you have Waterfall, relinquishing, purifying, flowing, relinquish control and take the plunge. Yes, I feel like as well, this isn't my feeling, this is truth. A lot of practices, spiritual, religious, whatnot, can be quite controlling depending on how it's like, enacted around you. So you might be letting yourself go from it in order to free yourself. And you also have Weather. Yeah, we're getting like heavy mind, changing the way that you're thinking, and then your mood brightening. So there might be something you're thinking about a lot that you're kind of challenging and questioning. I'm going to take another oracle card. You have Butterfly. And that could be, it doesn't have to be like religion or spiritual practices or traditions, but you might be questioning tradition and spirituality and religion and all these things. And that might actually help to free up your mind a little bit, is just to let yourself go from all of these things and just be you and see what that's like for a while. So I can see that that might be a potential. It could also be you maybe questioning things going on within your own communities of people, within like the people around you, your families, things like that. You're challenging something like a status quo. It could be like your family has maybe some toxic dynamics, or your community does, and you're challenging these things. But there's definitely a change brewing, a change in the weather. You know, it says weather changes from day to day and hour to hour. And you've got butterfly here as your second oracle. So something is changing. And we're seeing hope and happiness. So it's changing for the better. And you're the instigator of that. That's so amazing. You've got the World card. So yeah, something is changing for the better. It's changing in a way that's going to make you celebrate at the end of it. You've also got the Hermit mode and the Four of Wands. You have a very beautiful pile for sure. You've got a really lovely, like, just curious exploratory energy. It's 444 on the timer as well, or 1444, so you might want to look up those numbers after this reading as well. But yeah, I can see you maybe, because this is a very like reclusive card here with the Hermit, so I could see you retreating to learn something. So you're pulling away from something to learn something new. You might have been a bit of like a follower, just going with what people told you to do, and now you're at the stage where you want to question and challenge those things, where you want to decide for yourself whether or not something is right or wrong, and how you should be and what you should do with your time. So you're pulling away in order to find something out about yourself. You're exploring your soul's true purpose. This is the change. I think in terms of like your coding or your fate pattern, it could have been that you were set out on this path to, like, you know, continue down that road of being a follower, just listening to what people say. But something has changed where it's now making you go down a new path, where you're exploring yourself and exploring what matters to you and what's important to you first and foremost before anything else. You're beginning to guide yourself and go off of the trodden path. Like, a path has been made for you where you would have been, what's the word, where you've been like coddled kind of, and also kind of like manipulated by people around you, and basically overwhelmed by people and ideas to the point that you've not been able to form any of your own. So now you're going to be taking a more isolated, like independent path to figure out who you are, and it's really building your intelligence as well, and it's definitely leading to success and leading to you finding the right community for you as well. Oh, there's loads of butterflies in this card as well. Yeah, lots of transformation. It might be like a ripple effect, especially with this waterfall, because I think of ripples. It might be a ripple effect where this one thing then changes absolutely everything about your coding. Like, every single thing changes, and everything about you starts to transform, from your thoughts to your opinions to the things you do and say, how you act. Like, everything starts to change. The whole person you become changes. Like, I keep looking at this card. This is such a drastic change, because this is like, you know, we've got people here, people there, and then this is like some sort of like earth goddess. It's obviously like Mother Nature, because it's like a green giant woman holding the world. So it's such a big change from being like following everybody else, being the same as everybody else, to then being something entirely different and very connected to everything around you. Very connected with like nature, very grounded. There was grounding in this card as well. Detoxifying and balancing. You're getting rid of what is negative that's affecting you. And that doesn't have to be like, that's not to say that spirituality or religion or anything is negative for you. It might not be. It's just that you're getting rid of the negative parts of it, or like people who are using it for their own personal agenda to get what they want, especially over you, if they have a hold over you. You're letting go of those people and recognizing you have willpower, that you have free will, that you can choose what you want to do, and if something doesn't work with you, you're not going to do it. You're being strong. You're very, very strong. Like, you're starting to change in that sense, from someone who maybe felt like an easy target to someone who then feels really strong and empowered and I was getting that because of the coffee. Because this feels like the strong coffee versus the decaf in pile 3. You have the power to transcend circumstances or change in meaningful ways. Literally, that's what I was saying. So you might have felt like there are powers bigger and better than you that were keeping you in place, but you're recognizing through this change in your coding, you're recognizing that you actually hold all the power to live out the life that you want to live. So you're not gonna like listen to that anymore. So if there are like things you disagreed with in like religion or anything like that, or in your community or in your family, but you were told you have to do that or have to keep going because that's how things have always been done, you're finally challenging that and being like, well, actually, I'm gonna do what feels right, and that doesn't feel right, so I'm leaving that behind and I'm gonna do what works for me. So that's what I see changing for you. And it might free you up in such a massive way where it actually helps your connections with others in terms of like friendships, but also relationships. It could also be for some of you that maybe your community or family or religion doesn't accept who you naturally are for whatever reason, and so when you finally question and challenge those things, you feel free to be who you are, because you might be more like alternative, or you know, someone very untraditional, in which case like you might receive like a lot of criticism for that, and so that's making you challenge what you've kind of endorsed up until now, and you're changing that and turning it around to something much more positive. So you're surrounded by people who make you feel good, who love you for you, support you for who you are, and accept you for who you are naturally as well. Okay, so that was your reading pile 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you felt drawn to any other piles, please feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Fridays for another reading on Tìandtarot. Bye. Okay, hello pile 2, welcome to your readings. So you chose the T and you also chose the Knight of Pentacles. So I do just want to say that there's like a black horse here, and black horses are all about like opportunities and spirituality as well. So I feel like something changing in your coding is like a really big opportunity, like more opportunities coming your way, more flow of like financial opportunities, monetary gain, like material gain. So like in terms of up-leveling like the things around you, the physical things in your world. And let's also take a look at one of your oracle cards. So you have the yellow jasper. I love that. So you have the number 6. I am sustained and supported during times of stress. Continue to feel a sense of tranquility and wholeness. You have detoxify, protection, connection to Mother Earth. Oh, we had like the world card in pile 1, which was the Mother Earth. So you might want to check that one out after this reading if you were drawn to it. If not, ignore me. And then you have the solar plexus chakra. And then you have Leo, Gemini and Capricorn as well. I love how these offset each other, these kind of colours, like the black with the yellow, but also she's wearing yellow. So yeah, these are very complementary. I like the way that that looks together. So yeah, you're definitely going to be getting a new venture in terms of, it could be like a career thing, it could be like just in general like an opportunity that garners financial success, but either way, like I am seeing some sort of change that actually affects your material world. Okay, and just one more oracle card I think, and then we'll get more tarot cards for you. Oh, you have wildflower. I feel like that really suits your pile. I'm not sure why, but like it's giving. So you have the number 3, unplanned, joy and serendipity. Remain open to unexpected joy. That gave me like an image in my head, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but I also don't want to give anyone like bad news as well. So I'm gonna just look at the other cards before I say anything. No, I'm really strongly feeling it though. Some of you might be there might be a change in your fate in terms of like pregnancy, so you might be getting a child unexpectedly. Like unplanned joy, it's something you're gonna love for sure, but it's unplanned. And then you've got hair, and I was literally talking today about how like when people are pregnant, their hair can actually kind of change a little bit to look like their partner's hair, maybe a little bit in terms of the color change or the texture change. So you might have had straight hair and now it's a bit more curly because your partner has curly hair, because you take some of like the reserve from the DNA that they provide. I was literally talking about that today. So when I saw hair and then with the wildflower, I was like, okay, some of you are potentially getting pregnant, or if that doesn't resonate with you, not in like a bad way, but like you're like you might be getting like tamed a little bit because it's a wild horse and you've got wildflower. You might be like settling down when you don't expect to. Like there might be like a marriage connection in your future that is something unexpected, but you're like, it's a happy unexpectedness. Like it's not something you could have seen yourself doing, but because you didn't see them coming and how that would completely change your outlook on things, that's why you weren't expecting it. It's not because you like think it's like a terrible thing, it's just like a good thing for you when you get the right person. So yeah, extraordinary dreams as well. So it's a really, really positive thing, especially with all the yellow, because yellow is positivity, happiness, sunshiny. There are extraordinary dreams you might not even be aware of, like they're not on your timeline of things you want to achieve, but these are dreams that will happen unexpectedly for you, that are extraordinary dreams, that are very special, that you really enjoy, and you couldn't have even fathomed sort of conjuring up in your mind to think that that's something you would have wanted, because it's so outlandishly good, if that makes sense. It's something only your like spirit guides or the universe or fate could conceive for you, because there's no way that any person could think of these things. It's something very unique. I think you're gonna find ways of expressing yourself that are really reflective of who you are, that make you feel really good, and also attracting the person who will accept you for you as well, because then you get loved and appreciated for your true version, your true self, because you were that person to begin with as well. Yeah, 10 of Cups for sure. I'm getting love, guys, and family. That's crazy. 10 of Cups for sure is like that babies, the marriage. I'm really strongly getting that. Sorry if like some of you are like, no, God, that sounds horrible. Feel free to check out another pile if that's not your vibe, but I'm sorry, that's what the cards are saying. You've got the 9 of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, the 10 of Cups, the 2 of Cups. Are you joking? Like, yeah, it's for sure babies and love. I got that with the wildflower card, but I didn't want to say it. And Mother Earth as well. It could also be for some of you that you're just creating something unique yourself, like that you couldn't have imagined yourself doing, because it can be about fruitfulness in terms of like the fruits of your labor. What you put into something, you will reap and sow those benefits. So it could be that something's changing on your fate line where like you're before, like you might not have always reaped the direct benefits of what you sowed, but now you will. It could also be that you're going to create something you could never have fathomed that you were going to create, and it could also be that you're going to get a family dynamic you never thought you were going to have, like babies and marriage type thing, when you didn't see yourself really as a traditional person. You saw yourself as more of like a wild flower, a wild horse, you know, someone who was untamable, who was a free spirit, and still is, but now you just have that free spirit and you're sharing that with others. Sorry, I just realised I didn't even put the light on, so that was probably really dark. Hopefully it looks better now. But yeah. As well with hair, I'm thinking like, you know, people say like, let your hair down. You'll be like wild and free. Your hair's like an expression of yourself basically, so it can reflect like a really wild spirit if you want it to. So I think that's something that's really noticeable about you off the bat, is that you're like a wild spirit, and that's not changing. You're still gonna be that wild spirit, but it's like you're gonna kind of adjust to also align with this new thing that's coming in for you, that kind of tames you a little bit, because that horse is not like running, it's not like, you know, being wild and free. It's paused, it's like stopped for a second. It's something, you're gonna spot something that is gonna make you want to adapt to it. Like there's something that you're gonna be, that will like pique your interest, that you'll be interested in. I just read that said plant-based there as well. Some of you might already be vegan, but some of you might as well become vegans, even if you don't expect yourself to. You actually might as well. And, you know, shop ethically in like a plant-based way. Because it's not just about like, you know, not eating meat, it's also about not buying products that have like, you know, horse glue or whatever. So I can see you maybe becoming very down to earth, very connected with like nature, really wanting to protect animals, loving animals. Like I'm seeing a lot of love for animals in a lot of this imagery. I can see like your wildest dreams coming true, but in a way where like you don't even know what those are yet. They're so intense. There's something that's going to make you feel whole when it happens along your journey. But I'm 100% seeing a romantic love coming in for you that's unexpected, as well as a family dynamic that's unexpected, so potentially having children as well. Or maybe for some of you, you know, your fur babies are your babies, so that's, you know, if you have pets, that might be your version of having children as well. It says here a small percentage of these dreams even come true. It's making me think that you're gonna have a dream come true that is really rare and isn't the case for most people. And it's something you're gonna be really appreciative of. Really thankful that you have, really grateful for. I see a lot of freedom, because in all of these backgrounds, they're in like these really nice locations, these really scenic locations. There might be some uphill battles, but then it's clear skies from then on, and then there's like a nice villa in the background here. So I can actually see you living a life of luxury as well. I think that's changing in your fate, is that you're gonna be someone who lives a life of luxury, like living on their own land, their own property. I think you'll be able to have enough land to where like you don't have neighbours for miles. Like it's really just you and your like family as well. That's also something I'm seeing for some of you. But I think those are all the things that are changing on your fate line. So that was your reading pile 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you felt drawn to any other piles, please feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Fridays for another reading on Tìandtarot. Bye! Okay, hello pile 3, welcome to your reading. So you chose the decaffeinated coffee, and you also chose the 9 of Swords as well. So straight away I would say there's something that's stressing you out, but of course this is about a change in your fate line or in your fate coding, whatever you want to call it. So potentially this is going to change in some kind of way. It's going to be looking different. You have appreciated Jasper. I think this is the second Jasper card we've had today. I love that. So I am open to all that is around me and all that is within me. I am whole. You have the number 6. You have nurturing, grounding, stabilizing, mental clarity, wholeness, vitality, the root and sacral chakra, and Aries and Scorpio. Interestingly, Aries and Scorpio are actually like a really compatible pairing. So there's something here about compatibility as well. Okay, let's just get some extra oracle cards. Ooh. Root. Hey, you got root chakra and you've got root again. And she's like stressed and upset and worried, and she's in like the fetal position, which is cause for growth. She's growing. So this thing that's stressing you out might actually be something that's changing your path. It's literally changing the roots of your foundation. It's changing your stability in something. So we have grounding, stability, motionless, nurture your foundations and support system. You also had the word nurturing over here. And grounding again. Very synchronized, this reading, very synchronized. I think you're going to be taking your health seriously. Bit of a random point to say, but I just felt that as well because of the like decaffeinated coffee and the growing and healing. Like you're going to be like growing and prioritizing something. Okay. Baby. Okay, maybe check out pile 2 if you were drawn to pile 2. But I don't think that's how I'm going to interpret that one. we've got music as well. It's interesting as well, you've got like the similar colour cards because these are all different colours, so I like when those sort of synchronicities come out because I feel like it's conveying a message to you through colours. You've got reds and you've got beiges. There might be something where you're at, oh yeah, definitely check out pile 2 for sure. But you've got the Knight of Pentacles. You also have the Page of Swords, love that, and you also have the Ten of Swords. Wow, you've got quite like a heavy pile, to be honest. There's quite heavy energy. Right, I'm gonna need to analyze these for a second. Interesting, something that might be changing, because it just said here about connecting to groups and identities, longing to socialize in group settings, to add your voice to a larger cause, or to transcend fixed boundaries. And we've also had root a few times, so it could also be to do with romantic relationships as well as your social life. You might be really worried about something to do with that, like you might be stressing yourself out a lot, and there's definitely a message here of be really kind to yourself, nurture yourself, because you keep getting the word nurture, and ground yourself. Stop getting carried away with anxieties and thoughts and worries that are taking you more in the air, and go more down to the ground where reality is and be like, hang on a minute, why am I stressed about this? But I find that interesting because you've got the Black Horse here, which is like opportunity, spirituality, so there will be an opportunity for you which is changing in your fate to resolve this worry in some kind of way. And on top of that, horses are really, really social animals. If they see like another horse running or a pack of horses running, they will start running. They will just join them and run with them, and it takes over all logical thought and reasoning. Even if they were doing something like, hey, I'm gonna go over to that bush and eat those berries or something, they'll literally forget that that was ever something they were planning to do when they see other horses running. They immediately just go with the flow. So there's definitely a strong longing for socialization, for like community, friendships, partnerships even. But this is growing for you. This is happening. There's something growing, there's something sprouting. But I definitely also see it's like your self-worth is growing as well. The way you look at yourself, your self-perception, your self-love, and the gentleness you have for yourself is changing, which might not have been something that you expected. You're going to change something. Something's changing about you. You're growing into something new. That's why you've got baby here. You're at the new beginner phase. You're growing into a completely different empowered person with the Page of Swords, because it says here that you might need to strike a different note, blend your voice with others, or need to belt your own distinctive song, whatever's your choice, whatever sounds more joyous for you. So you might be going your own way, growing your own way, which is then actually going to help you find your community and your people, because you're going to be your unique self, which means that when people meet you while you're in that era, they're going to accept you for who you are as your unique self. I'm seeing joyful again, lots of joy. This is changing for you. Like, this kind of stress and worry is transforming. You might have had people like stab you in the back in the past, which is making you weary of friendships, but you're gonna find like a group, a socializing group that's gonna make you feel really happy, healthy and joyful. That's the words I keep looking at. Develop, healthy, joyful. So you're developing, you're changing, and you're, as I said, you're prioritizing your health, which is improving your happiness as well. And I feel like there's emphasis on communication as well, because when you think of babies, you think of them like what I do. I think of them like screaming and crying all the time. Like, that's how they communicate with you. It's not actually necessarily that they're in distress. It's just like, they're like, how do I tell you I'm tired? I'll scream. That's what I'll do. How do I tell you I need a drink? Well, I'll scream. That's what I'll do. Like, they're very noisy. It's a lot of noise, and it has like, it's hard for people to know what it wants because it all sounds the same. But then with music, there's more emphasis on like tailoring sounds to target specific audiences, specific groups, specific communities. You're changing your communication style to essentially find the right people that respond to you with the same kind of melody. Like, you're trying to look for your people who have the same views and opinions as you, who think like you, and you're having a hard time with, you know, people understanding you, understanding your intention, understanding what you want, with trusting you maybe. So it could be that like you're finding people who understand you and who get you, And with the Page of Swords, there's also an undercurrent of fixing your communication style. Not necessarily fixing it, but adapting it so that you communicate really effectively and get your true intentions across, get across your true personality so that you can find your right people. You're going to get really creative with your self-expression and completely transform yourself in the way that you communicate. And that's something that is going to change the trajectory of your fate line, because the way you communicate is then going to change who you interact with, who comes into your life, and the type of socialization that you have in your life. So that's improving. Your socialization is improving. Your communication style is changing. Your self-expression is changing. You're prioritizing your health, feeling much better about that. And you're going from this phase into this phase of being like an amateur, a beginner, to being like a master at something, like very talented, very sophisticated, very like direct, clear, and targeted with like what you want to go after. You start being more ambitious with like a goal in mind. So at the minute you might just be like, oh, I just want socialization, I just want friends, I just want this. But actually you need to be a little bit more tactile about who you want, because there's realistically, you know, you wouldn't want anybody, but you say those things without really thinking about like who specifically you have in mind. And when you have that in mind, when you finally know like who you want to go after, who you want around you, you can then start pursuing that. But at the minute, if there's no one in mind that you have in mind, worrying about it is pointless. It's just there to like, you know, keep those swords in place, and you don't want that. You need to let those ones go. But that's what's changing, is you're getting essentially a really good social life, a really good romantic life, better communication style. You're transforming your self-expression but also your communication style, which is going to be up-leveling you in a few different ways. So it's going to up-level your creativity, your power, the way you present yourself to the world. It's also going to subtly up-level your material world as well. So that's what I see for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed that reading. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. If you were drawn to any other piles, please feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Fridays for another reading on Tìandtarot.